I got to lead off by saying, because I didn't say it last episode, if you want to email the show, clutchculturepodcast@gmail.com is where you do it. Everybody, this is episode, I believe, 49, unless I've mixed up the numbering, Nick. I was doing last week's episode, and I was going through my numbers on my files, and I was like, oh, man, I messed up one of the file names. But
all kinds of extra work.
Yeah, no, for sure. But it was only on my file side. It wasn't on the actual like iTunes and YouTube or whatever. So it was all good.
I'll have our team check into that. You might get reprimanded. We'll let you know. We'll get back to you. Don't call us. We'll call you.
Okay. Well, I guess I'm having my team call myself and be like, hey, you asshole, you messed up the numbering. All right, listen, we got a lot to talk about today. A lot of news to talk about. But look, we've gotten a lot of emails on recent car culture related events that have gone on and being like, hey, you guys going to riff on this? Or are you guys going to like talk about it, make fun of it, whatever? Yeah. And genuinely, I think it was just kind of like a non-interesting kind of thing to us. We're not TMZ. We're not tabloids. We're also not into certain parts of what you would call car culture, or at least the internet calls car culture. And that's actually a good segue into what we're going to probably delve into. But there was something that piqued both of our interest, and we also got some messages on, and that was a very viral, we'll call it Larry Chen video. A lot of people know Larry Chen, great photographer, great personality in the car culture for a lot of people. A lot of people follow him, like his work. And
he does great work, man. He's one of the most talented photographers out there, for sure.
Absolutely. Big advocate for, everything from racing and racetracks and development and maintenance and the whole thing. And, it was a pretty long video. I think it was like 6 or 7 minutes, and I watched it all, and you had it sent to you. I had it sent to me a couple of times. And I think it just opens up a broader conversation about, and I wanted to ask you, because we hadn't really talked about it, like, what is car culture? Because the show is called Clutch Culture. It's all about the car culture, but we're living in a time where the internet, I think, differs from what originally was car culture pre-internet.
I don't think very much on the internet is car culture. And I've thought that from the beginning, by the way. I was never into different brands that made it big on, and by the way, you and I know some of those people. We've done projects with some of these people. We've, look, guys, my shop is 2 miles from SEMA. I used to work for manufacturers and all that kind of stuff. And, I pass on that work now. We're just too big as a company. But I get called every year. The last 60 days, 90 days, my phone still blows up. I've always looked at internet culture of cars differently than car culture. Mm-hmm. And the unfortunate thing is that I think a lot of people are being led to believe things on the internet are not a television show. And we got to remember where all this stuff was born. Go back to Motor Trend. I think it was called Velocity TV at one point. What are all the names? Discovery. Yeah. All these different names where the Boyd Coddingtons and the Chip Fooses and, all those people. Guys, it was a television show. Because if you saw this stuff at SEMA, you go, oh.
Looked way cooler on TV.
That ain't so nice. Yeah. It was a television show, and I never really, I wanted everybody to have success, so I never really cared. I was like, oh, okay, I see what they did there. As it changed just at SEMA, and more YouTube stuff started getting into the show, the work was even worse. And I was working with a major manufacturer who, by the way, sponsored almost the whole show for pretty close to a decade. And I remember at 2 o'clock in the morning, this guy saying to me, I was like, hey, man, we're doing a lot of different cars now. You guys are bringing a lot of different stuff. He goes, yeah, man, the internet's where all the views are. And, we've decided to sponsor these people, and they're doing stuff, for people that have never been there, there's an outside portion and everything that's in the halls. He's like, it's a good like branding thing. Then he like kind of starts to walk away and he goes, but make no mistake, this stuff is shitty. I'll never forget that as long as I live. Because
they're talking about a higher up at this place too.
Yeah, and we're talking about a real executive, because there was no craftsmanship to any of it, right? It was just slapped together for something on the internet, and I don't think you and I have any problem with that.
No.
But now when people watch where internet culture in the car scene has gotten to, but they don't want to look back at maybe the people they've been in business with that was creating that content once upon a time, and they're not bridging the gap, and they're like, well, this has just gotten out of control. Yeah, bud, it was kind of out of control when you were on those projects. You just were making money on those projects, so you didn't think it was out of control. And
or even out of bounds, for that matter.
Yeah, or out of bounds. And so I think when you look at it now, I hate the dad get off my lawn crowd.
Totally.
I just hate it. It's like, guys, I'm not surprised by any of it. Any of you guys that are surprised about what's going on in quote unquote car culture and Gatlinburg or any of that kind of stuff, you didn't watch what's been going on the internet from huge brands for the better part of the last 10 to 20 years.
How do we, us and anybody else that wants to touch this with a 10-foot pole, how do you approach it other than with honesty and some real like authenticity and not sound like the dude get off my lawn?
Look, man, it's guys, the stuff that's going on now, the takeovers, the craziness, it's corny. But guess what? There was a lot of corny shit 10 years ago. Everybody just thinks it's different now because it's getting more out of control.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this. The best way that I described it to you, that I'll describe it to our audience is, there were car shows in the 90s, where guys, Power Block TV or, whatever was the name back then, where guys were in the garage taking a part of an engine and then going through an entire build over a month of the TV show or 2 months of the TV show. That then morphed into one episode. Chip Foose is going to overhaul a Camaro in one episode. Used to take 8 weeks on television. Cool. Things change. Then that became guys going on the internet, racing around, trying to get speeding tickets, and everything just kept being a one-up. Let me do something crazier on the internet. Guys, you're 30 plus years down the road. Why are you surprised at where this all landed? Because it was always one-up culture. Like that's why it doesn't surprise me. But guys acting like they didn't play a hand in it, or their buddies didn't play a hand in it, or their buddies weren't involved in it, that just doesn't sit right with me. It's because it's like we're hearing these guys talk out now that were part of some of these big brands, and they tell you the exact formula that those brands were using.
You brought up a really like a total flashback. Power Nation, which I guess it's Power Block. Yeah, you said Power Block TV, right? That was one of those old, and I've had people from, I don't want to I'm not trying to point anybody out, but because of some people I've worked with in the past, just because of the industry that's related,
yes.
Those shows need to have advertisers in order to make those things operate, right? So they'd reach out, we'd have discussions with, we'll call it an arm of an arm that puts those kind of productions into place. And I'd be curious what those look like. This was maybe just pre-COVID, I think. And the rates at which you had to pay essentially to be on a show like that was ridiculous, right? To use the only R word that's acceptable these days on the internet, apparently. And now, all these years later, with what's going on in the car market, I wonder how stuff like that sustains itself. Because you have to make it, the timetables have to be pretty quick on these things. It's a show, like Nick said. And the way I summarized it for Nick, as we were talking about it over the last couple of days, just briefly on random phone calls, is like, you were describing to me, it sounded like it used to be about quality. And then now we're in the era where the question isn't, is this quality? The question is this clickable? And we all know that that's what it is.
Yeah, so car culture to me has always been about the craftsman, right? Where for those that weren't there, you wouldn't see this happen at a car show because the guy or gal had spent so much time and money on their build.
Yeah.
They like babied it to get there because they were like, I just got all these new parts and I had to, maneuver them in, and I spent so many hours. And that used to be, and really a big part of car culture to me is, I wanted to build this exceptional thing. Mm-hmm. Cheap parts, slapping them on, putting them on with, zip ties. I mean, you guys can pick out what part of car culture that is. Crappy fenders, crappy front lips, things put on with double-sided tape. Why would anybody value that stuff? It's cheap. It's easy to do. You can rip it off, get another Chinese lip, Taiwanese lip, put it on your car. Why would they value any of that? But who brought that into the world? Because I can tell you who it was, and it wasn't Power Block TV.
No.
They didn't bring that into the world. I'm not saying they did the highest quality work all the time, but they didn't bring that into the car culture. Who did? Look at the brands. Look at the people that made all these millions of dollars off that cheap shit build mentality. Because it wasn't part of the car culture until certain companies built a following doing that. And I found something interesting in the last few weeks. Somebody who was a part of one of these big brands, who's now out on his own, did an interview. And he goes, look, I could get millions of subscribers overnight. Guy's like, kind of looks at him, he goes, what do you mean? He goes, yeah, do a a trash build, go out and trash the car, and I'll have millions of views and millions of subscribers, but I'll be miserable.
And there's your formula, kids.
And there's your formula. And by the way, we've alluded to that before, that's the formula.
Yeah.
The formula that doesn't really work in today's internet culture is high quality all the time. Like there's guys that are slogging through that have made a name for themselves, but their slog has been a lot longer than just doing a trash build and going out on the street and trashing the car. And by the way, for anybody that thinks that all of this trashing of the car happened on some closed course and it was all rented out, and that wasn't true either. They were doing this shit in downtown LA.
How quickly we forget, right?
How quickly we forget those. It wasn't all dotted I's and crossed T's either. But now people are acting crazy at a car event and we go, well, how did we get here? Well, you guys, come on. Like, it's just like I told you, and you were there. If anybody was there when Fast and the Furious, the first one dropped, street racing became more popular in every town after that thing dropped. You had more accidents than ever. You had more cars getting damaged than ever. You had all kinds of things happen. Doesn't mean Fast and the Furious shouldn't have been built, shouldn't have been shot and put out as a movie. But can we draw the straight line? Yeah. Every cop in the world could draw a straight line and go, man, we never saw that much street racing. That movie dropped, and the next 2 years of our life, all we did was deal with street racing. Like, yeah, I just don't know why people act like we can't draw the straight line of what's happened here.
That's where you draw the 10-second quarter-mile line from there to there. You know, and this is coming from, admittedly, I mean, I got props back here. I got the Supra. I got the Legos. I got the box set DVD that was given as a gift years ago.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of the franchise. I've said it forever. Next to, maybe early Marvel and Transformers, it's one of the best cinematic universes in the world. I'll stand by that, whoever wants to debate me on it. But it is what it is. Those are the facts, and there's nothing wrong with it. Nick has said it, and we're, again, not trying to sound like the old man on the lawn, but we do want to just say, if you're hearing these videos, not just from, I know we brought up Larry Chen, but other people.
Oh, a lot of people are making these videos.
A lot of people. So, and you know what? Had you and I not known each other for the amount of years we've known each other and done, the variety of things we've done together, I might have, if you were just kind of watching it and in passing and it wasn't so like heavily consumed in your life, listened to it and been like, you know what? Might have a point here, and then kind of brushed it off and went about it. And when it came up in conversation, you'd be like, you know what? The XYZ person made a really good point, and then someone else would have to tell me, like, hold up, wait a minute. Let's take a pause for a second, slow down your life, and remember what we've unpacked for the last decade and a half.
Yeah, dude, it's all connected, man. It's all connected. Everything on the internet is one-up culture. So if you think that YouTube car videos started in what, roughly 2005, 2006, 2007, you now have 20 years of people one-upping each other. And you guys are shocked that people are acting crazy in Gatlinburg.
Or anywhere else.
And by the way, this is not me endorsing it. No. But I also didn't endorse those brands that were doing cheap shit builds either. So I have that on my resume.
Yeah.
I wasn't into that stuff. I didn't think that was car culture. I just thought it was somebody creating internet content, which, by the way, I hope everybody got paid. Cool, man. Mm-hmm. Do your thing. But it was never car culture. And matter of fact, there's a lot of people I talk to after all these like, hey, we need to settle down videos. Like you said, there's been 1,000 of them made by a lot of pretty old people in this culture that made a lot of money off the internet that now kind of want to wash away their sins, where a lot of people were like, what are they talking about? Like, I was there. For those that don't know, I lived in Southern California while some of these brands were exploding. Mm-hmm. It was corny then. You guys didn't know it because you were watching the fully edited version.
Right.
You weren't seeing it happen in real time in front of your eyes, not on the internet. Just like I always tell people that have never been to SEMA, and they go, oh, I want to see that guy's build. I go, okay, I saw it. I don't think it is what you think it is. That's not to say that person didn't work hard on something. It's that I think you're seeing things through the lens of social media or an edited video. It makes it look a lot different than the finished product when you can sit there and go, Oh, the door gaps are off. That's kind of strange. Oh, the frame is kind of messed up. Oh, what do they do? Oh, the car won't turn on. They had to roll it in here, right? Like, that's the real of how this stuff works. And that doesn't take anything away from anybody. But we have conflated what car culture is to what people are doing on the internet. And the internet really was the extension of the car show on television.
Yeah.
That's all it really was. It wasn't actually, because Power Block wasn't car culture.
And ironically, it went down in quality once it got on TV, because early on you would have thought, oh, it's reached this whole new level of where audiences are going to exponentially grow because of the access to people's living rooms or phones at that point in the early 2000s, and it actually got worse. It's pretty crazy.
Oh, it's gotten. Look, guys, I denounce all of it. I mean, it's stupid to go do this. Like, I don't want anybody to get it twisted. But I'm not the guy that's like, whoa, we legalized gambling and now people have gambling problems. Isn't that crazy? It's like, no, man. I mean, this is what happens.
How dare you believe your lying eyes, Nick?
I mean, right? It's like, come on, guys. Like, a lot of people made a lot of money. I don't think you should be out on a tour now talking about where car culture is now and not reference back to what's kind of led to all of this. And by the way, it's all good. That's why I tell people it doesn't really interest me to talk about what kids were doing in Gatlinburg. And I said this in DMs to people. I'm like, it's just not that interesting to me, because what do you guys want me to say? It's stupid? Yeah, it's stupid. I mean, it shouldn't happen. It's tearing apart good events. But guess what? This was the natural evolution when it was nothing more than, let's do a crappy build and go out and trash the vehicle on the street. That culture didn't just happen today. It started 10, 15 years ago. And so this is the natural evolution of it.
Yeah, and a lot of people know, our interest outside of the car world. I'm gonna use this as a time to say shout out to those that send stuff that isn't car related. I appreciate you guys.
Me too.
If either through Clutch Culture Pod on all socials, or our personal, Hyperclean Nick, Hyperclean Store, Rob GTV. If you send different DMs about different topics, we appreciate it. I personally, dude, I've been so not on my phone unless it's like completely a project related. I think the most I've used my phone is just like email. Like the screen time, it tells you what you use the most. It's just email, and not a lot of my socials. So like Missouri Adventures, I believe that's what it is, and a couple of other guys that like send stuff car and non-car related.
Yeah, man, they're
appreciate
great.
You guys. You guys are great. It helps a lot of the podcast from week to week sometimes with stories. I know some of the stuff I won't bring up because Nick doesn't like politics, but you guys and I can have conversations in the DM, so I appreciate it. What I was going to wrap that up by saying is, let's also not pretend that some of these kids need some parenting here, all right?
100%.
A lot of people are just running wild these days, which is
100%.
unfortunate. But look, go ahead.
You do cheap builds that you don't respect even as the owner, you're going to do crazy stuff with the car. Because, look, I liken it to this. Every single person listening to this has taken and checked off, I got insurance on this rental car, and you rallied the piss out of it for a week, in Phoenix, Arizona, or Austin, Texas, or wherever you traveled to. Why? Because you didn't care about it. And guess what? Just because that person owns a car, if it's cheap, if the work wasn't high quality, they don't give a shit either. So them running it into a gas pump, while it looks stupid to all of us, why does it shock anybody? It doesn't shock me.
And as one of the great philosophers of our time, Jerry Seinfeld said, I will take that insurance because I'm going to beat the hell out of
100%. 100%. And guys, I want everybody to realize I'm not dad get off my lawn, because we didn't come on here and criticize the kids acting crazy.
No.
I'm not surprised by it even a little bit.
Because at heart, we are those kids. We just tend to we have different interests at this point in our lives.
And by the way, I did a lot of dumb shit when I was younger.
Yeah, some of those stories we can't even tell because the statute of limitations has not been up yet.
Yeah.
And we can't have Nick's name attached to it.
Yeah, look, guys, I have an incident where I was literally knocked out for 24 hours as like an adult. And I got into a motorcycle accident, completely my fault, all kinds of dumb shit. Like, I'm telling you, I have a hard time judging young people acting crazy, because I don't know what I would have done if I knew I could possibly make money acting crazy on the internet.
Oh, can you imagine?
Can you? And again, that doesn't excuse any of this. But I'm not the guy getting on saying we need to change it when I was a part of the craziness.
Yeah.
Okay, that to me doesn't sit right. Like, let's all understand. You guys knew the formula because you guys are talking about it now. Cheap builds, trash builds, go out on the street and trash the car, get millions of views.
Hey, peak internet while Nick was 18. Can you imagine?
Oh my
Peak
God,
YouTube.
dude. Yeah, no. That look,
It never would have happened.
I don't judge young people for doing crazy shit because I think that's unfair. Mm-hmm. We all did stuff that, hey, we're lucky that something bad didn't happen. I mean, there's plenty of guys that love to have a drink. How many of you have had one too many drinks, got behind the wheel when you were younger, or even now? Right? Like, don't sit here and act like that doesn't happen. Right?
The party started in the pasture and it ended in the pasture.
Yeah,
I don't know what you're talking about, son.
But what I want to say does interest me is everybody trying to wash their hands of all the things they're maybe even still involved in. You know, guys wrecking, exotic cars all over the place in Los Angeles, and you're part of the production team or, whatever. You're not saying anything because you're getting a paycheck. And then you're like, well, these kids in Gatlinburg, it's like, dude, you guys are part of a show that's scripted to like wreck an exotic car. Like, what? How do you think you're better than that? You're not. I mean, you think you are, but you aren't. You're part of all of this. And I don't have that on my resume, FYI. I always cared about the craftsmanship of the car. That's what I have said on this podcast is like, dude, I went to a craftsman to restore a 2003 sound system. That's what I'm into. True. We know that isn't going to get millions of views, guys. We know that because we know what the formula is because all these people have admitted and we know what the formula is. But I'm not going to do it because I think it's corny. But I also thought it was corny a decade ago. I just thought it was corny behavior.
Yeah, Nick's a bit of an anomaly, I guess we would say. He's even told me before, like, "Hey, you're sounding like get off my lawn guy," and I was like, "You know what? You're right. I'm 10 years younger. What's going on here?" I don't want a hard segue, but you just said, when you were younger, you did your own things. Don't you have a shoulder issue? And you don't have to specify why, but you do, right?
Yeah, I have had now at this point 3 shoulder surgeries. Yeah.
Yikes. And it's not. It's just from growing up and other stuff. It wasn't.
No, I mean when I got in an accident again, being stupid, separated my shoulder, broke my collarbone both at the same time, broke my jaw.
Yikes.
And yeah, man. After that, it just never been right. I've had a couple clean outs. I had a full repair. It is what it is. Hey, I got those cool scars too. That like run the,
really?
where they like fillet you up. Oh yeah, dude.
No thanks. I don't like that life. I don't like the needles and the blood. I will say a little. That's way beyond what I thought it was. But a little hack for the dads out there, for all of the dads and maybe the one mom that listens to this show. What I learned is if you're having those shoulder issues, if you grab like a lacrosse ball, dude, put it on top of a foam roller and then put it like at a bed or a table that's like waist height, and then you roll the subscapular area right here, oh my God, it changed my life, Nick. I had this one particular shoulder issue forever, and it reminded me of you because you always, you've complained about how you've had some shoulder injuries.
Yeah.
Dude, you just lay on that lacrosse ball and roll the scapular area out. Oh my God.
Dude, the big thing is if you got shoulder issues, just hang from a chin-up bar as long as you can every day.
Multiple times a day,
100%.
as often as I can.
It's the only thing you can do, man.
Feel the spine decompress and crack, and then also like how long you can hold to like strengthen all of that. Love it. Sorry, I'm not going over the fucking microphone because I'm
getting hype on subscap.
The relief when you actually find something that works.
100%.
Is like, I want to tell everybody from the rooftops.
It's nuts.
Yeah. All right. We've also haven't said, if you're new to the show, this is the #1 car-related podcast on the internet, so we appreciate you tuning in. We'll talk about car culture, obviously, news, current events. Most importantly, we offer you a good hang every Monday. I do want to reference something else. We had some videos going out, and I want to say, were you surprised at how many people were able to relate to the Chevy vents? And
yeah. And I love the other people. They were like, I got an '02 Silverado. My vents work perfect. I'm like, oh, okay. That's cool.
Dude, but in that same thread, somebody was like, I love these guys. These guys, you're my favorite. If all you got to worry about is events in your truck, you got soft hands.
100%.
Like, dude, I grew up with people like you.
Yeah, 100%.
Relax. Not that crucial. Also, my left hand, barbed wire fence ripped these 2 fingers. That's why I can't play this guitar that's just a prop back here because I can't really bend these 2 fingers like I should be able to.
There you go.
Soft hands, bit of an understatement here. I'm just going to say.
My vents really bother me, but I have calloused hands. How dare you say it?
100%. Yep. Barbed wire fences and what is it? Deadlift bars. Is that the most manly? Is that as manly as it gets?
Yeah, I mean, you might as well. I mean, you make your own rules. It's our podcast. Just make the rules.
Right. Dude, did I see a check engine light come from one of your vehicles?
Boy, sad day when. I mean, all the Toyota fanboys out there, there's never a check engine light on a Toyota product. So I don't know how I got it so unlucky. Nothing ever breaks on a Toyota. Yeah, I have some kind of EVAP code. Actually, I don't have it here on my desk, but I got a new gas cap because that's sort of the first way to kind of start to troubleshoot it. My guess is that's probably not going to work, but yeah, I got an EVAP code, something in the fuel system, but it's pretty normal. Again, I don't know how so many people have, taken their Toyotas to 700 million miles and they've never had a check engine light, but yeah, I have one. That's a deep cut on this podcast. For those of you that haven't been around, is if you go on to some of our beginning Toyota videos, people act like they didn't have to change their brakes and they put 700,000 miles on their Toyota.
By the way, daily, we're still getting dozens, if not hundreds, of comments on those videos.
It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts.
We're going on a year, guys, which thank you. Continue to please share and comment on those videos. But, most of them have broken 1 million plus, 1.5 million plus on TikTok, Instagram, whatever. And it's kind of like the car culture conversation we led the show with, is that I don't think the Toyota crowd gets some of the nuances that we kind of mentioned.
No. Come on, Rob. Come on.
It doesn't stick. It doesn't resonate, whatever it is. But I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, we don't need new tires. I mean, I put 8 billion miles on my Toyota, and I didn't even need new tires, brakes, nothing.
Equations seem to vary, apparently, these days from people to people because they just leave things out of cost equations.
Oh, 100%. And by the way, it's why everybody who supposedly hates the car dealer is using them as the boogeyman and not their bad decisions. It's like that's the
point too.
That's the whole thing. It's like they didn't do the cost analysis, and like I've said on this podcast before, that's all you really got to do. How much am I willing to pay for this car, this truck, this whatever? Give an offer. They accept it. Pay that amount for the truck. Leave the dealership. It's not
the next thing.
It's not rocket science.
The next thing I want to reference is how many pictures of King Ranch expeditions did you get over the last 7 days?
Boy. And by the way, looks worse in pictures.
Well, depending on the color, you're right, because I sent Nick the picture of the one that I saw heading to the baseball fields literally last night. And then he was like, dude, this is hilarious. I've gotten like 5 in the last day alone.
Yeah, I got 5 like within about a 4-hour period yesterday. Like people just DM, text. It's heinous. It's heinous.
I even told my wife, I said, I think and I made the joke on last week, I think you bullied me into thinking, because when I first saw it, I didn't think it looked that bad, but it was silver. And this one was more of like the off-white kind of eggshell white, which I don't really like that color at all.
Horrible look.
That one was really bad.
It's horrible. Like, and again, the thing that amuses me when I see stuff in car like this, think of how many people were like, yep, we nailed it inside the Ford building. It wasn't one guy or one gal. It was hundreds, if not thousands of people that go, yep, that's what we want.
And to me, it's also worse that the type of vehicle they chose to like go that line of thinking and design with or options with, because if it would have been like a Flex from back in the day, I think it would have suited it, because I think the roof
that could have worked. It was a little bit straighter lines. It was
exactly.
Here's the whole point. The back end doesn't look great to begin with.
No.
You didn't get the back end correct anyway.
Yeah.
Bringing focus to that is what makes it horrific. Like, again, if you guys look at it and it's already too far down the road and you go, oh man, look, we got to get this thing into production. The thing that you should have said is, let's not draw attention to the worst part of design on the vehicle, because the rest of the vehicle looks fine.
I thought maybe they thought it would be a detractor, like let's take away from the least pleasant part. Meanwhile, it's just focus.
Yeah, it's like what Toyota did with Sequoia, where Sequoia's like massive, like it's a billboard on the back. It's like, no, that's not what you want to do. That's not it.
Sorry, did that come through? The audio? No.
Okay. What's Rob doing, dude? What is going on the podcast?
Sorry. Well, I was trying to segue smoothly, which I typically do.
We're trying to get Jamie from the Joe Rogan podcast to produce this so we can.
Jamie, you got Jaime right here.
100%. We love Jamie.
Jamie, you got Jaime right here. Listen, I got this sent to me a couple of times. I'm going to hard segue because I thought this was interesting, and we'll either really love it, by us, I mean you, or hate it. Have you heard of the TELO truck?
Yes. Show it to me, please.
Yes. Okay. All right. What I was trying to do, sir, was not blow your
Yeah.
eardrums out because all
I
these
know.
platforms have finally added volume levers to the reels. Whereas
Yeah. Well, Jamie wouldn't have made this mistake, but
wow,
whatever.
Hyman's gonna talk to your boss.
Uh,
All right, here we go.
Trucks used to be made for work. Like with this 2004 Ford Ranger behind me, it's got a longer bed than most F-150s. Today's pickup trucks have been built to carry bigger egos than payloads.
Oh.
Now, if you want a big bed in a practical truck, you have to go big. But with the TELO truck, we're hoping to revive the small truck market and make mini trucks more practical than ever before. So the Ranger
I had
has
a Ranger
nice
just like that,
long
by the way.
bed, but between
I
the
know,
wheel
dude.
wells, yeah,
400,000
it can be a little tight,
425,000
which
miles on
means
it.
4x8s have
I can
to
look
sit
at you,
on
Rob, and
top
know
of
you
them
had one of
instead
those.
of
You don't have to tell
But
us.
thankfully, with the TELO truck,
Wow, Hyman, I'm really turning into Hyman now.
Yeah, we knew. We
between the wheel
knew.
wells, so the 4x8s can sit flat on the bed floor.
That's pretty
If you
cool,
ever need
man.
a bigger bed on the TELO truck, you just fold down the second
Which is
row
that's
seats.
cool as well.
Now you've got
Yes.
an 8-foot bed
By the
in
way,
footprint
stolen
of a
from the
two-door Mini
Avalanche.
Cooper. Now the Ranger
Correct.
had
A
a
lot
respectable
of things were stolen from the Avalanche.
5,900-pound towing capacity, but
So
the
more
TELO
towing. I'm
takes
gonna
that
fast
to
forward a little
the
bit here.
next level with 2,000 pounds.
More
You could
towing.
kind of sit 4 people in the Ranger.
I used to hate having to be in the backseat of one of those
Problem
Rangers. Yes.
with this,
Jokes right themselves.
Oh, look at that.
facing design is once you're in, shut the door behind you, and you don't.
Right.
Other than that,
Cool.
and your internal organs
That's
are
a
safe.
tiny
The TELO
truck.
also has room for lockable storage, meaning
Lockable
getting all your.
storage.
This
I like
was
it.
my first personal. We're trying for the future. and
So
we hope everybody.
let's put it here. So what is
Yes.
the story? Because the one thing I haven't really looked into is what is their story? Like where are they building it? What are they doing? Who's funding it? Because again, great idea. This is a great idea. Obviously, it's going to be EV. Which again kind of brings us back to this is what the skateboard platform was supposed to allow. Is this really cheap, manufacturing repeatable thing, which the consumer has largely not been able to take advantage of that supposed, advancement. But if these kind of companies pop up and they can stay in business, then it kind of proves this theory that they've been trying to prove for 25 plus years.
Yeah, so it is a California company,
Yeah.
right? I think it's a small team. I think it's just over a dozen. And I don't know the full story because honestly, their website doesn't have a whole lot about like us kind of thing. It's just a small, California electric truck company, tired of the oversized, impractical trucks. I did go to their page where we could build it. Do you want to quickly just go through it?
Buddy.
Can you please guess?
Of course. Of course I want to do
Guess?
that.
If you were to build one of these little trucks, what do you think you would end up at price-wise?
26.
26. I want you to, everybody, 26. Everybody got that number down that Nick just said? We're going to go through this. It should be pretty quick because I don't think there's that many options to the pre-order, which is $150 to reserve. So you want a single motor for 300 horsepower or a dual motor with 500 horsepower?
Does that say?
Listen, we're going to go through
Oh
this.
my God!
Listen,
Here we go again.
We're starting right here. 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive. Which one do you want?
Well, you got to go 2-wheel because I'm trying to get it to.
Oh.
I'm trying to get it to 26 grand, and I'm already 15 grand off.
2-wheel drive. What do you want? The peasant one? You want the? Okay, we'll go.
I live
2-wheel
in
drive.
Southern California, Rob. Like that's
Hey,
where
bro.
they're at. Like
You want a truck with 2-wheel drive? You do you, brother.
I'm
All right,
trying
do
to
you
make myself right here.
Do you want standard battery or a long range for another $4,000?
Long range.
Long range, 350 miles versus 260 miles. Color, do you care? White, blue, green, pink?
Blue.
Blue. No, okay, no charge. Do you want the 4-spoke or do you want the 6-spoke wheels?
Let me see the 6-spoke.
It's $1,000. It's 5-spoke and it's $1,000 more.
Yeah, I'll take those.
Okay, we'll take those. You want the tonneau cover for $1,200 or a solar cab roof or
Oh,
a
my
solar
God.
tonneau? How do you pronounce that? Tonneau.
It's
cover?
tonneau cover.
Tonneau. That's right. That's right. You want a camper shell for another $2,000? Do you want a solar camper? So you can put a fucking solar panel on everything. $3,500. Any of those interest you?
Tonneau cover. Might as well.
No solar or solar?
No solar. Buddy, I'm already over my budget. You're killing me here.
All right. It looks like we've come to about 47.7 for 300 horsepower and 350 mile range.
It's not.
I'm maxing it out. As you collect your thoughts, I'm going to max out my build, which my build would be a Texas boy wants to.
Yeah, well, by the way, so would have mine, but I was trying to meet $26,000 here.
That's crazy, Nick, because that's never going to happen, sir. I'm gonna,
So you might as well have gotten everything.
yep. Let me see. I don't want that one. I want that one with the solar. I want that solar. I want this solar. I'm going to pay $58,699 out the door.
Yeah, that's not.
that's
Here's the thing, man. That's not that. I have to ask all you EV evangelicals out there.
Look at the interior first. Wait, don't go off on them yet.
Hey, I actually like that interior.
That's disgusting.
You're crazy.
You're great. I want to take that 2004 interior from that Ranger than this.
No, well, buddy, that's not an option.
Well, fair.
I mean, in today's world, that level of simplicity, that's pretty rare.
At this point, let me just put my own iPad Pro in this bitch. And
Yeah, buddy, I just don't know how you're getting to $40,000+ and going, hey, we have a solution.
60, but
Yours is 60. Yeah, this isn't going to work. I mean, I root you guys on, but again, you guys, and again, everybody has to make money, and everybody has to do their thing. I got you.
I was hyped as hell when I first saw this when people sent it to me, and then I got to this page and I'm like, hey, we're back at Viper territory here, by the way.
We're getting a Viper.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, matter of fact, we're getting an Aston and a Viper if you fully spec the thing.
For 1.5 of these, honestly. Actually, your 2-wheel drive, my 4-wheel drive, we could still get the Aston and the Viper instead.
I just don't get it, man. And by the way, if you are a representative of this company and this clip comes into your world, I'd love to interview you.
Love it.
Because I'd love to just go,
Walk us through
what are you solving?
Game theory this out with us, please.
Because again, if I'm at $50,000, I'll just get a used Raptor.
Or if you wanted to be efficient, if you can still find used Mavericks at the time.
Yeah, used Mavericks you'd be way under. You might be able to get two Mavericks.
The Roush, what do you call it? The Roush Frontier Pro 4X?
Yeah, it's 48 grand.
Yeah, 48. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, you guys got to, all of you people that I'm trying to get on your team. I'm trying to be like, hey, good idea. You see what's going on. Great. Price, $172,000. It's like, guys, where is the $25,000 vehicle? Because you guys have been spouting easier to put out, easier to build, lower, cost. That's not what happens when we get to the finish of the build.
For the last couple of years, we would hear the phrase, like, I'm politically homeless, right, from certain people. I feel like I'm automotively about to be homeless here with the decisions.
Great
You have the
point.
crazy car culture world, and then you have the EV world that's making no strides in the direction of, like, affordability, fun, the whole thing. Like, we're just in this little world of clutch culture where we're, like, hanging on to our current vehicles because we think they're the best. That's why we bought them and held on to them. And then you have this. This is, like, the coolest looking, most expensive Gator that I would see on the road.
Gator is a great reference.
Dude.
That's a great reference.
This is my dad's Gator, literally. My dad's Polaris, but in white instead of black. And it's way cooler to have the Gator, I'm going to tell you right now.
Yeah, a lot more stuff can go on with that.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Like, how do we, because I don't want to sound like somebody that doesn't understand things cost money.
Yeah, and I'm on your side. We're trying to be. I want to fall more into this because Slate. I'm still holding out for Slate. That's one of the things that really did excite me about that world. And Tello's. There's two other ones, and I didn't research them, so I didn't bring them up. Maybe we'll bring them up next week. But there's people trying to make moves in the space. But now we got to talk about. Look, the government training wheels are falling off of this world.
Yep.
What happens? Who survives?
Well, not only that, you got this rare earth minerals, fight that's going on. You just had an announcement. I believe the Danish.
Nexperia.
Yeah, somebody that's in the semiconductor world has now been taken over by the government, and you might have another chip shortage situation going on. And I look at this whole thing and I go, guys, I want to be on your team because I think you could solve something in the marketplace. Not because I want to be on the EV team, but you guys have been telling me that the cost is going to keep getting driven down. Yet every time something gets released, it's 20 grand higher than what anybody thinks it should be. That is a wide divide. Even if this thing came in at 31, you'd be like, oh, okay, it's about $5-6 grand more than I wanted to pay, but it's okay. We're getting to this isn't even in the ballpark.
It's double the price, bro.
Double.
The one that most people are going to want because
double.
You want the cool stuff.
Yeah, and we keep saying, if I can get a used Gen 1 Raptor, I'm going to pick that.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny that you brought up. I had it on the list, way down the list of stories. But yeah, so if you're not hearing about this anywhere else, guys, the Dutch government took over the semiconductor transistor company, which makes up, I think, 40+% of that world. I think it's pronounced Nexperia. And now they're in talks with China because China stopped exports essentially to different parts of the world. It's a really crazy thing because now we're starting to hear that phrase again, that phrase of shortages, right? Semiconductors, chip, all that kind of stuff. So this really throws a lot of fuel to this crazy fire of the auto market.
Yeah, and look, it magically is happening about 3 or 4 months before everyone's saying that the 2026 car market was going to be very weak. Mm-hmm. That's pretty convenient, but
And don't forget the numbers we're all seeing about the explosion in EVs, but they hardly mention that it's because of the incentives drying up and that kind of stuff.
Yep.
I think it was a 30% year-over-year boost over.
Well, I think Chevy or GM just announced they're going to take like a $1.6 billion write-down because of EV weakness and what they see coming and all this kind of other stuff. Look, you have the big news out of the DOJ going into the private equity company and started First Brands. Is that what it's called? First Brands?
Yes. Which we talked about a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, which basically is what? Fram and all these different companies. A classic private equity pump and dump situation that shouldn't have been allowed to happen in a just society, in my opinion, because everybody sees what these companies are doing is they're taking all these companies, putting a bunch of debt on the balance sheet, taking all the money themselves, and then thinking they could bankrupt the company. And hopefully there is an end in sight to that. I doubt it, but you would hope that would kind of get some legislation to be like, come on, guys, let's not do that. But I don't think people really want to have the conversation consistently about, like, there's so much that goes into these supply chains of automakers that now, like, any little thing starts to throw like frantic behavior into the automotive market. And that's a pretty new phenomenon. That it wasn't always, part of the ecosystem, meaning like supply chains were a lot more calm, dependable.
Predictable.
Now we have all kinds of different stuff going on globally, and everybody's getting stuff from all over the world, and it all seemed like it was a great idea. Look, you have the huge announcement out of Stellantis, basically pulling out of Canada and saying, we're going to put $13 billion into the U.S. I hope it pans out for them, but I don't know how that's going to make your lineup more interesting. But, you have a lot of moving parts right now in the automotive business.
Yeah, so $13 billion investment into the U.S. operations, the largest in 100 years. This is about Stellantis, which Nick just brought up, coincidentally. Simultaneously, I don't know if you knew this, they're setting up EV manufacturing at an export hub in Abu Dhabi.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was a weird part of the story. There was like a two-parter here. So the VS Strategic Cooperation with the Abu Dhabi Investment Office and Ports Group, part of the broader push to globalize its EV footprint and make it a Middle East regional hub. I don't know what's going on with Stellantis because they're up and down with who's controlling what, where the money's going. We talked about them a lot of the part of the year because it made some really interesting things. The Hemi coming back, but in this whole thing, it was a very long write-up. But at the end of it, the one thing that did not get a lot of, actually, any mention in this was the V8, the Hemi itself.
Yep.
It's coming back. It's supposed to be coming back early next year, if not roll out towards the end of this year. But it was all about whatever their Hurricane engines are and their 3-liter, twin turbo and their 2.5-liter or 2-liter twin turbo and their EV and now this Middle East thing. But it's not what the promise was initially as this year rolled on about the V8 and other kind of like sports.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's all going to take time, but you do see, and I still have this question quite often is, okay, if you bring it to the U.S., which we're going to cheer on, because for those that listen around the world, we're based in the U.S., yes. So I'm going to cheer on making cars here in the U.S., but if you still have a global supply chain, you're still at huge risk of not being able to pull off whatever you're trying to pull off. And I think that's what so the question is, are suppliers going to start investing into the U.S. market and bringing things here? We also know from a chip perspective, I think there was a government, what was it called, the CHIP Act, where we said, hey, we're going to start building chips here. That has not gone well, by the way, meaning like it's my understanding from everybody in the manufacturing world, one of the hardest things to manufacture are these chips, right? And so here we are. We're going to try to bring this on American soil. That has not gone well, and I don't believe it's because of the government. I believe it's because it's hard to get up and running. It's hard to have the quality control. It's hard for those reasons. So when you look at this, it's great that Stellantis or GM or Ford wants to do more in the U.S., but if you're still getting stuff out of this Dutch supplier, out of Denmark, and they have problems, you have problems. So building in the U.S. really didn't solve anything because you still don't have a supply chain in the United States.
Yeah,
and that is really the cause of all of this.
And it'll be a decades-long, initiative to
the 20 plus years.
Yeah. So also to say, we'll just piggyback off or what we were talking about. A large chunk of that $13 billion investment is to be sent to various Stellantis plants across the nation, for research and development, and also reopen manufacturing plants and jobs. There was one in particular in Illinois. What was it?
There was a bunch, right? There's like 2 or 3 in Ohio, 2 and 3. Wasn't it quite a bit?
Yeah, in Illinois. So, they're making pushes to bring back jobs and do their thing here, but, this announcement just kind of felt all over the place.
And the other thing is, didn't they, right when they announced this, didn't they cancel Wagoneer?
Oh, did they? I didn't know
I don't know. Don't take my word. I think they canceled Wagoneer. It's like, we don't know why Wagoneer didn't work. I don't know, man. When you launched it was $109,000.
Yeah, the Wagoneer's dead. Yes, Jeep canceled. Let's see, the standard Wagoneer in 2026, rolling it into the Grand Wagoneer.
Okay, so let's make it more expensive.
Oh my God!
Let's.
You didn't even. Oh God!
Yeah, let's make it more expensive, and I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to say, "Hey, we're going to keep the Grand Wagoneer. We're going to get rid of the lower tier Wagoneer that was a little more affordable, and we're going to just sell the Grand Wagoneer." I just don't see how that $13 billion didn't go into market research.
Okay. We're going to segue into another car that has been canceled, which we might have to go, after we hit stop on this podcast, go find one and just put it in the garage. But the CT5V Blackwing is no more.
No, I thought they were committed to it.
Committed to not the V8 supercharged. Reported by The Drive. Let me just pull it up here so that as I make this clip, we can actually read the article.
Well, don't put this clip on short form, because if it's wrong, people will just roast you.
Pour one out for the Cadillac CT5V Blackwing, the last V8 manual sports car sedan.
So 2026 is the last year?
Yeah, so they go on to say that I believe the CT4 will be gone altogether. The CT5 will remain, but it doesn't really go into specifics, or at least I don't remember it going into specifics about what the power plant's going to be. Yeah.
I get that this probably is not a thing that buoys any type of financial success for Cadillac, right? Because, Escalades probably sell this like 100 to 1.
Yeah, right.
But this was one of those things, and I'll say this. When you go to auctions or whatever, and there is a Cadillac booth at these events, the vehicle most people are around are the 4 and the 5 Blackwings. Because I was there when, look, if you go back to January, they had the Escalade IQ, they had all kinds of stuff there. The 2 cars with manual transmissions in that booth were where everybody was around. A couple people looking at the Escalade. It takes you 2 minutes to look at it. You know what you're getting. This is still an interest piece for this brand. But again, I guess we all have to say, if the sales aren't there, if the commitment from the consumer is not there, then you're going to bail on it. This was, to me, one of those halo things for Cadillac. Just kind of having this kind of gave you a little bit of a, hey, we're still doing something cool. It looks like that's gone. I can't understand that decision, to be honest.
So Cadillac has confirmed there will be another internal combustion CT5 for the American market at some point in the future, but no such promise has been made for the CT4, the manual transmission, or the Blackwing performance variants.
So let's make it more boring.
More boring, more basic, more of just everything else.
And by the way, it'll be the same cost.
Probably more, if we're being honest. Probably more.
Hey, we're going to take the Blackwing, the manual out. We're going to charge you $129,000. It was $123,000 when it had everything you wanted, but here you go.
So as of today, 10/17, a day before my birthday, which Nick loves celebrating people's birthdays.
Yeah, there we go. There you go. What are you going to do?
I'm as
Your
little as
favorite
possible.
Mexican restaurant?
We already did that earlier this week.
Hey, I knew it. You just got to call. Do you go margarita?
I don't. I'm trying to keep it light for the girlish figure, so I go
I hear
vanilla.
you.
I'm
Hey.
doing a ultra right now. Yeah.
Yeah, ultra. Yeah, we got ultras. We can do ultras.
Listen, what the hell was I about to say? Oh, as of today, 1017, they're going for about 96 on the used market with anywhere between 2,000 and 10,000 miles.
Which is about like 14 or 15 under what they've been going for.
Right. So I say that to say, let's keep an eye on this over the next couple of weeks, months to come, and see if they're not back up over MSRP here pretty soon.
Yeah, it's a good call. That's a good. Put a little note down. Let's check in a month.
Yeah, probably less, honestly. This is going to spread, and someone's going to pick them up, and just like everything else. Those clips are going out of Monterey Car Week talking about Ferrari, here recently, and
Yep.
everything ends up going that direction
Yes.
when we know that these things, like you said, are not coming back, or at least it doesn't seem like they're coming back. And if you had to say today, do you change your perspective on that frequently, or is you pretty set in these things not
No,
coming back?
I don't. I think it's so hard to reverse course as a car manufacturer. We're seeing that. Look, all of us would say they should be able to build a Hemi the minute they decide to build a Hemi. They built it for so long.
Yeah.
And you're going to be a year and a half down the road from that announcement, probably before you see, them really hit the lot. I just think it's hard, man. Again, look at the supply chain issues they have all the time with all different parts of the supply chain. It takes a long time to put these supply chains in place and make sure everybody's ramped up in your whole circle of supply chain vendors and different things and suppliers. I think we all have to look at this and go, the reason I believe it's not coming back is, number one, you have to have a commitment inside the building to do it, which you don't really, have many people that are going to commit to it because they don't want to put their neck on the line. But then you got to go and commit to years of building out the infrastructure. So once it stops, you're basically starting from scratch to redo it again.
Well, something that we can expect in 2026 is going to be from the Stellantis group of the world, and that's the 2026 Dodge Charger. So I'm going to bring this up for you. 51 to 61K is what we're looking at, with no V8 in sight yet, even though it's supposed to be coming. This is going to be powered by, what do they say? It's going to be the twin-turbo inline-six, 420 or 450 horsepower, feeding a standard all-wheel drive system.
I mean, it's a step in the right direction, considering it seemed like they were going completely EV pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I kind of look at that price tag and say, I think the base will end up being somewhere at like 42 to 45 as these sit on the lot. But what they did to this, when they were selling so many, will still be a head-scratching thing to me. Isn't it kind of head-scratching they did any of this?
Yeah, considering how well the regular boats had been selling for so long.
Yeah.
No, totally.
I mean,
I want more of these.
The front end kind of looks all right when you're like looking at it like that, but it's something like when you look at the 45-degree angle of it, it doesn't look right.
Yeah. By the way, I meant the previous ones. Not these are okay, but I mean the ones that are running around right now, creating havoc at
Gatlinburg.
Yeah. What do we call those fucking things? What are they called? I'm losing.
Takeovers.
Yeah. I think they're cool. There's a couple of mechanics online that have them as like their daily drivers, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah.
They just like putt around town with their kids in these boats because they're just like comfy cruisers that sound sick and whatever.
Yeah, no, and I think I'd love to hear from everybody out there, in the comments or whatever. I still think it's head scratching because they were doing so well.
Yeah.
Usually you make this overhaul because you have to. The market's kind of telling you. But like rental fleets, just the amount that they were selling, the amount that you would see on the road, it's really kind of crazy for a company that was struggling to go, hey, I know we're selling a lot of these. Screw it. We're done.
Okay, well, here's another one. I'm curious to see if you think this is also a head scratcher. All right. Car and Driver, the hamsters will dance no more.
I saw this.
After 2025. Please tell me your thoughts on the hamsters and the Kia Soul.
I know what Kia's doing here, or I guess I'll give you my opinion.
Please
is they're trying to become a more elevated brand, and they feel like this is an era they're not a part of anymore. And I think
it's actually a really good take.
Hyundai and Kia are kind of like thinking they're somewhere different than where most of us think they are. And I think they're just trying to get away from that. I think they're trying to take some of these lower end options.
Hear me out. please do not turn your camera off and hit stop on your side. Does this not look like a Range Rover from this angle?
How dare you?
Come
How
on, Nick.
dare you?
Nick, listen to me. Agree with me. I'm spot
Man,
on.
that Mexican food's still in your system from your birthday party.
They put something in those ultras.
Hey,
Come on.
I'll say this: those hamster commercials were
Some of the best.
they were pretty cool back in the day. But I think that's what's happening, right? I mean,
I think you're totally spot on.
I think they're just trying to go to a different era. And I go, guys, you sort of need to be the king of 20 grand. You guys need to be the king of that. It's the same thing I'd say about Hyundai. Like, be the king of $20,000 to $29,000 and just be hyper efficient and build stuff that doesn't break all the time. But it doesn't have to be, Honda level quality or Toyota level quality. Maybe a step below that, and keep a bunch of options between 20 and 29 where the consumer is begging for somebody to figure that price market out.
Either ICE or EV, or one stick to one?
No, I mean ICE, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, EV would work great. I mean, if you could find something that was consistently $22,000, 300 miles of range, people weren't scared about battery life or whatever. I mean, but it just seems like Kia and Hyundai believe, because they had Telluride, because they had Palisade do so well, that now they're going to take this next leap. And I don't think they realize how crowded the airspace is in that next area.
Yeah, that's a good point. I almost wonder, where could a company like Kia, the Hyundai, put themselves? What type of vehicle? We talking because I think Hyundai is going into the bigger truck market. I didn't have it pulled up.
I do think I heard that too. Yeah.
Yeah, but that doesn't seem like where they could fit themselves into that cheap. Because now, I guess, going back to your original point, elevated style, elevated pricing.
It all costs money. I mean, every time you try to elevate, so if Kia sees what Hyundai's doing, right, and has been doing, I'm guessing they're saying to themselves, we're going to follow suit. Okay, well, now you guys are just two more people in the same price range of GM, Ford, Dodge, Chrysler, Honda, Toyota. Like, why would you want to go into the lion's den when you could easily just make your own den?
That's true. I was pulling out the Kias here. We never really talk about this brand, one, because Nick absolutely hates it, and also they don't have a lot of offerings to really rant and hove about, but this is the 26 Kia EV4.
It doesn't look all that bad for a Kia.
Okay.
But again, if it's $21,000,
that's nicer than I thought you would be. Let's find the price real quick. Let's play this game. 21,000. There's no way in hell. This is probably going to be more like 35,000.
I know you're right. 100%. I know you're right.
37. Boom. Let's go.
But again, that's not going to work.
Although a well-equipped model does cross 50,000.
So think about this. They're saying starts. Like, this is the crazy thing. 37 start. You're going to cross 50 in the same, what's supposed to be commuter car, everyday person that wants to get A to B, doesn't go to our crowd, doesn't come to you and I. A $13,000 to $15,000 difference in trim models. How is that a business model? How's that a business model? Like 30 to 40 for their top trim makes sense, but 30 to 45 or 37 to 52, that's not a business model that works. Not in that price. I mean, again, 911s, that works, right? It just doesn't seem like a Kia that works.
There's so many disgruntled people, which one of my favorite hobbies, I think yours as well, is to read all the comments, ours included. We're mostly good, but sometimes we have some trolls that leave some interesting things. But there's so many disgruntled people across different segments of the car world that I don't think they're ever going to be happy unless cars start being $15,000.
Agreed, yeah. So, and we try to be realistic and say, I just don't see how anybody's going to crest under 20. But should we be talking about the $20,000 to $30,000 car? Yeah, man, I think it should be a big topic, and it just isn't. I mean, these car brands either need to come out and say it's not possible and start to educate people why it's not possible, but they've been barking for a better part of a decade that costs were going to go down, manufacturing was going to be more automated, we were going to have better processes, we were going to be able to reduce the cost. Boy, has that not happened.
What a good episode this was. I got to end it on one thing. Somebody sent this to me. And I think maybe we'd mentioned you took the BMW out last week, right?
Yeah.
So they said, please make sure that Nick sees this, and if you would play it on the podcast, that would be really cool. So, give me a second. When someone's trying to steal your car, but you want to be in
Shit. Piece of shit.
I forgot what movie. I think that's from Monsters, the movie, and it's got Alex Jones' voice underneath it saying, "You piece of shit."
Dude. So, I want to say something because somebody left a comment, and they left a comment on our LS 430 video.
Okay.
And I realize a lot of people following us have not bought a 20-year-old car.
Yes.
Okay. It does not matter what manufacturer you buy a 20-year-old car from. You are going to find gremlins that you wouldn't deal with if you bought a new car. It's logical to many of you. For some of you, we need to say this out loud. The minute I buy an old car, me personally, I go, there's going to be gremlins. There's going to be something. My sound system, perfect example. That's a large gremlin in the Mark Levinson world of LX470s. LS430s, you might find an electrical problem. An E39, you might find 5,000 problems. The point is that I don't ever want to tell people that you're going to buy these old cars and they're just going to magically be no problems with them. And I feel like we don't say that ever because I thought it was just common knowledge. But I think some people are confused when you go, the LS430 is really well built. Well, mine has 2 electrical problems. Yeah, but do you know most 20-plus-year-old cars, like door handles are falling off? Like parts of the interior are missing and falling off? Wires are hanging everywhere? Like, you got a pretty good one if it's like one electrical gremlin. I'm not saying it's the most enjoyable thing to deal with, but like we have to put it in perspective, guys. Many of you are going into the first time of buying a 20-year-old car. There's going to be problems, plain and simple.
Was that in the? Yeah, I think it was where they were saying it was like the most overrated because I think the caption was yes. Okay, I did. I don't know if they had said they had gremlins or something about that, but they were, I guess, an owner of them, and they're like, this car is extremely overhyped. I have one. It sucks, and I'm like, all right, well, you're just one of the. Most people are like, absolutely, it's a great car. People should buy one, and then one guy's gonna be like, this is trash.
And again, guys, there might be parts problems finding them. That's the world of having a 20-year-old car. But I can tell you this. You're going to probably deal with less problems of the solid 20-year-old car than you are with some of the new ones. I mean, we see all kinds of Yukons, all kinds of Tahoes, all kinds of Hyundais, all kinds of Kias, all kinds of everything, Fords on the back of trucks with 100 miles on them. You know what I mean? Like, we got to put this in perspective, and I don't want to mislead anybody. I am okay with problems because I expect that they're coming. I hope that I instill in all of you that are maybe doing this for the first time, there's going to be problems, okay? Don't think you're going to buy a 20-year-old car and there's not going to be problems. There's going to be. But when you get them sorted, that car should last you for a very, very long time if you want to have that experience.
It is kind of the way to go if you want to get into, and we've said it so long, into car like enthusiast type of cars is an older one that you can kind of either tinker with, know somebody that can tinker with it for you. Because the price of cars, and I didn't have the article pull up, we'll talk about it next week, but more and more articles are being written about how the median average cost of like everyday consumer cars has crested $50,000, right?
Damn, sounds right. We just saw the brand new Kia could crest 50,000.
The EV of it on top of it.
Yes. And we just saw, I mean, look, you just designed a truck from a startup that's going to cross 50.
I'm still a little blown away by it.
Buddy, I'm not only blown away, it's double what I guessed.
I know. Yeah, I didn't do it until just before we hopped on, and I was like, "There's no way it's gonna be one of those like we're ending the show right now. This is the market, the direction it's going. It's impossible."
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, hey, clutchculturepodcast@gmail.com if you guys want to email the show. Nick has the LX video on our Clutch Culture Pod YouTube channel. If you guys want to see the top of the line Mark Levinson refurbished guide, I would call it.
Yeah.
Nick does the voiceover. By the way, any updates on you living with that system? Has anything gone awry?
No,
or is
it's
it as
awesome.
good as the day that you?
It's awesome.
It's awesome. Right?
I can't believe it, man. It's been awesome.
All right. Well, if you haven't, leave us a comment also. We'll leave you with that. Leave us a comment on iTunes, and we'll read them next week on the podcast if they're funny and if they're good. If not, kick rocks. All right, see you.
See you next time.